Hey Pokemon Masters, Bulba here, and welcome back to video 3 of 3 in the first week of January. Rather than me taking a break, I've been letting smaller channels host Bulba for the week. I hope you've been enjoying what you've been seeing so far. These are new, up-and-coming channels. I hope you've been heading over to their channels and seeing what they've got to give. And today's video is by someone who has actually worked on the channel before, Brett Mew XYZ. Brett helped me out with a lot of editing last year, and it's not because they're an editor that I've chosen them or anything like that. In fact, it's because I liked their channel that I ended up being like, hey, would you edit for me in your spare time? And we've been working with them, and so they are actually integral to this channel as well. And this is Brett's video about the status conditions of Pokemon. Enjoy, and I will be back next week.
Hello friends and hello Pokemon Masters. Mew here. Over on my channel we did a video where we broke down the way hypnosis works, both in real life and in the Pokemon world, to see how accurate Game Freak was in the way their moves work. Turns out, actually I'm not going to spoil it for you. Links in the thingy to my channel. Now that video was easy because I am actually a former hypnotist, so I just applied some real world knowledge, did some screws and giblets, but today we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to have a look at Poison Powder, Stun Spore, and Sleep Powder, and see, in the same vein, if there is a real-world applicant and whether or not we can use that information to see how exactly those moves work. But, like I said, I'm a hypnotist, not a botanist, so we need to do some research. To the library! It's a Sunday, the library was closed. But it turns out they have information on computers now, so bear with me a second. First, let's talk about Poison Powder, as it is the most generic. Basically, you get hit with a nondescript cloud of powder, and it hurts you over time. The in-game descriptions literally just say, the user scatters a cloud of poisonous dust on the target. Well, that's not a lot to go off, so I did some reading into plants that cause skin irritation, since that's kind of the closest thing we have to in-game poison. It touches you, and then it hurts. That's kind of skin irritation, right? I found something called, bear with me, Dendrocnide moroidis, or Gimpy Gimpy. We're definitely going to refer to it as Gimpy Gimpy. A plant that causes extremely painful, stinging sensations that can last between a few days and a few years. I found this on the Wikipedia. Ernie Ryder was slapped with some Gimpy Gimpy on his face, and here's what he had to say about it. For 2 or 3 days, the pain was almost unbearable. I couldn't work or sleep. Then it was pretty bad pain for another fortnight or so. The stinging persisted for 2 years and recurred every time I showered. There's nothing to rival it. It's 10 times worse than anything else. But for the Gimpy Gimpy to cause such irritation, you have to come into contact with it. It has to touch you. See this? Poison Powder is a non-contact move. Doesn't trigger any contact ability, so it is classed as a non-contact move in the game's data. So all of that goes out the window. All of our research into Gimpy Gimpy is useless, but I did get to say the words Gimpy Gimpy a few times, and that is a funny word, so kinda works. So then I did a bit of research for more plants that didn't have to make contact to cause skin irritation, and I found nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then I slapped myself across the face because I forgot about people breathing. Poison Powder is a cloud. It says it in the description, it's a cloud. So most likely the Pokemon is breathing in some dust or spores or something. Because 99% of Pokemon breathe. Shedinja doesn't breathe, Cascoon doesn't breathe, but everything else breathes. And then I found the Abrus precatorius, or Jaquirity Bean. Both of those are very funny names, so I'm just going to skip between the two. This plant does in fact contain seeds that are covered in a dust that can be fatal when it is inhaled. It wouldn't be beyond the realms of belief to, in a world where plants are sentient, in a world where plants are alive, that they evolve the ability to expel that dust on command. I'm gonna give him a tick on that. That seems easy enough to believe, correct? Well, except the Abrus precatorius takes about 6 hours to happen, which is hardly the sort of 2 seconds that we have in the real life battles, but it would be so difficult otherwise if you got poisoned in battle and then the poison didn't kick in until you were like 6 hours down the line. Three gyms later, your Pokemon just fainted for no reason. Actually, that would be amazing. See you in the next game. Gen 8, Game Freak, get on there. So moving swiftly on, let's go to Stun Spore, which is alarmingly similar. The user scatters a cloud, of numbing powder, which paralyzes the target. We're using what we learned in the previous chapter? Let's go with chapter. We're using what we learned in the previous chapter to eliminate plants that cause paralysis on contact. So that's most of the stuff out the window. So any berries or leaves that you have to touch or eat, out of the window. We're going to stick to things that emit a dust or a spore or something. And nothing. There is nothing. No plant I could find emits a dust that paralyzes. I did, however, find the, bear with me again, these are some more funny Latin words, Aesculus hippocastanum, or the horse chestnut. It's conkers. UK people, they're conkers. That can cause full or partial paralysis in a similar way to in-game, of course, only when you eat the plant. So we're going to have to use some more creative licensing, combining the characteristics of the Abrus precatorius with the horse chestnut to form, and this imaginary evolution, infinity energy, or whatever you want to call it, that we've created. And it's kind of the same deal with sleep powder, unfortunately. Not a lot of plants can cause comas when they're consumed, and none of them can do so with a cloud of spores. So, nothing. But that does move us quickly on to our last move that we're talking about today, Spore. Spore is a move used by mushroom-based Pokemon, which is a straight upgrade to Sleep Powder because Spore has 100 accuracy, Sleep Powder has 75. They are otherwise identical. Maybe this is Game Freak's way of saving face. Mushroom spores are definitely a thing, and they definitely don't cause comas. Yeah, maybe not. Mostly respiratory stuff like asthma and pneumonitis, which is another funny word, which you might be able to interpret as speed losses because you can't move as well if you can't breathe as well, but sleeping it ain't. Well, it seems like a trend in these videos where sleep is the spanner in the works. Maybe next time they'll get it right. And if you want to see next time, hop on over to my channel, links in the underground, to join the Muminati. We'll just ruin more of Game Freak's hard work. Or maybe something else, like a low stakes theory. I have something cool in the tank. And as we say in my hometown, stay awesome,